Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Newell again, and we are going to go over a portion of our lessons for this chapter that could be confusing to some, may not be confusing, but we're going to talk about converting measurement units, and this is on our sheet here, right about Module 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and to get started. I want to show you just a couple of ways to solve some of these problems. Sometimes I do like to use the book because I feel like it'll keep me in line with what they're talking about. And sometimes I like to go out on my own and just show you different ways to work the problem. So let me just take a look real quick because I don't remember if I wanted to use this book or not. Possibly. It is quite possible that I want to use it. All right. So, one thing that I do find helpful here is that it's talking about converting larger units to smaller units. Each relationship in the table can be written as a ratio. For example, you know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. So, you can use the ratio of 3 feet per yard to convert from yards to feet. Okay. If I'm converting from yards to feet, I know that 1 yard is my unit. So my unit usually goes in the denominator as we see here on our page. Now, if you don't remember the customary conversions, don't fret. You have them in your planner and you also have them right here in this text, all right? Now, like a unit ratio is one in which the denominator is 1 unit. So the ratio 3/5 to 1 yard is a unit ratio. All right. It's like going 60 miles per hour, right? Or it's like reading 25 words per minute. That number in your denominator is the unit. How many of this per one of that? Okay. For every pack of gum, there are 5 sticks. So that would be a 5-to-1 ratio. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, it will over time. Okay, so we can look at the example they gave here. I want to convert 20 feet to inches. I want to just show you, and let me just go ahead and erase some of this stuff here. 20 feet to inches, I'm going to show you how the different ways we can do that. 20 feet equals how many inches? What do I know about the relationship between feet and inches? If you need to pause, pause. But I can tell you what I know is, and always think about what you know. There are 12 inches in a foot. All right, so that's a ratio, a unit ratio of 12 to 1. All right, so for every 12 inches, that is 1 foot. Good. Now, if I have 20 feet, how many inches is that? 20 feet, that is 12 times 20. I hope you understand, because for each one of the 20 feet, there are 12 inches there. So that's really 20 feet, right? And I'm not getting ready to draw all that out. Let's go ahead and convert. Let's change this from 20 to 10. If I've got 10 feet, how many inches do I have? I'm going to change that for the sake of my drawing and writing and modeling. If I've got 10 feet, how many inches do I have? Well, I know that there's 12 feet, 12 inches, and 1 foot. So here, I'm going to draw out my 10. I just did something cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's not what I wanted. I want to keep my unit rate of 12 to 1, right? But I also want to know if I have 10 feet, how many inches are there? So here are my 10 feet. I just drew those out, and I'm going to write in the middle of them 12. So in essence, for my visual learners, I would have to multiply 12 by 10 to tell you how many inches I have. So if I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, I should have a large number, okay? Because 10 feet, or for every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. See how the number is larger? So now I'm just going to multiply 10 times 12 in order to see how many inches that is. And we know that 10 times 12 is 120. So if I tell you I need 10 feet of yarn or 10 feet of fabric, and you can only go to the store and purchase it in inches, I need 120 inches because there are 12 inches per foot. All right, let me erase that and let's take a look at something else here. Let's take a look at what happens if I want to convert 36 yards to feet. This is the same type of problem. I want to write it out though. 36 yard to feet. What do I know about feet and yards? Well, what I know is that for every 3 feet, there's 1 yard. Now I'm in the position where I have 36 yards, and I want to know how many feet are in that 36 yards. So I have some options. I could literally set up a ratio table, and y'all know I love ratio tables if you are in my class, my homeroom. So for every 3 feet, there's 1 yard. But I, at the end of the day, am going to have 36 yards. So then if I got 3 yards, how many feet is that? We see the relationship here is times 3. So let's go ahead and do 3 times 3. That'll give me 9 feet. Okay, so let's do that again. Let's do, what if I have 9 yards? Well, if I have 9 yards, 3 times 3 is 9, or 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to do the same on this side. 9 times 3 is going to be 27. See how that's working? Now let's just go ahead and get down to 30 yards. If I've got 30 yards, right, and I can still multiply here, right, because for every 3 feet, there's 1 yard. So for every 3 feet and there's 30 yards, I got to multiply that. That'll give me 90. All right. So what if then I had 6 yards? I know I'm not going chronological order, but I'm just trying to show you something. If 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 9 is 27, and 3 times 30 is 90, then 3 times 6 is 18. Now, I don't need that there because I've already labeled it at the top. Now, then, if that's true, and I want to know how much 36 yards would be, I've already done the work here. 30 plus 6 is 36. So all I have to do is really add 90 plus 18, and that'll give me 108. So I know that for every 36 yards, that is the same as having 108 inches. Now, what I did here was showed you how I could scale up with a ratio table. This is a ratio table, and I love it. All right. You can pause and rewind if you need to, but I'm going to get off of here real quick and throw another one up here. We've been going from larger units to smaller units. Let's go from smaller units to larger units. Let me write it out. All right, so I have 10 cups, and I want to know how many pints that is. If you remember these units of measurement from when you did your gallon robot, then you know that for every pint, there are 2 cups. Okay, now I have 10 cups. So how many pints is that? This is a 2-to-1 ratio. Okay. Now I've got this over here as 10 cups. What is the relationship between 2 and 10? That is, in this case, I can divide 10 by 5 and get 2. Okay. That's what I did here. I divided 10 by 5, or I multiplied 2 by 5 to get 10. So if I think about it in the reverse, what is 1 times 5? Well, it's 5. Okay. So if I have 10 cups of milk, I also have 5 pints of milk. That would be the conversion. Notice how here, when I go from cups to pints, my number gets smaller because I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Okay. And I can think about my relationship between my denominators and figure out what the relationship between the relationship between my numerators, and figure out what the relationship between my denominators will be. All right. That was me going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Let's do another one of a smaller unit to a larger unit. I have quarts and gallons, right? So if I know that I have 15 quarts. I want to know how many gallons I have. What do I know about the relationship between quarts and gallons? Well, if you looked over here, or if you remember from your robot some years ago when you drew that out, you know that for every gallon, there are 4 quarts. So that means that as I am converting from quarts to gallons, my number should get smaller because my unit is going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Okay, so I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, so my number should come down smaller. Meaning, if I am saying I've got quart size here, I need more quarts to fill up a gallon jug. This is a gallon jug. Don't laugh at my drawing now. This is a gallon jug, and this is 1 quart. Look at how small that is. So my number is going to be larger because I can put more quarts inside that gallon. All right. So let's do it then. I wasn't trying to scribble. I thought I was erasing. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. 15 quarts equals how many gallons? If 4 quarts is 1 gallon, what would 15 quarts be? And how can I figure that out? I can figure that out in a lot of different ways, right? I'm basically having to divide. Okay. So here we have it, 15 divided by 4. So how many 4s can I get in 15? I know that 4 times 4 is 16. So let's do 3. That'll give me 12. That'll leave me with a remainder of 3. And if I am working on quarts, I can say that I have 3 and 3/4 gallons. And let's set this up a different way so we can check our work here. It's going to be 3 3/4. Let's go ahead and I want to do my ratio table. So for this will be a gallon and this will be a quart. For every 1 gallon, I have 4 quarts. Okay. Now, if I have 8 quarts, how many gallons is that? That's going to be 2. If I have 16 quarts, how many gallons is that? So what I'm doing now, if you look at the relationship between the numbers, because I wanted to put my larger quantity on the left, and I'm only doing that to make it a little bit easier for people who don't understand yet. This is being multiplied by 4, right? So if this is being multiplied by 4, then what is this going to be? It's going to be divided going this way by 4. So what is 16 divided by 4? It's 4. Now, my 15, really, if I'm going in numerical or chronological order, would fit right in between here, which means it has to be more than 2, but less than 4. This is one way you can estimate what your answer should be. Okay, just figure out, should it fit in there on that number line? Yes. Ooh, I'm glad y'all said number line, because you know I love number lines. Let's go ahead and draw it out here. And we're going to do what we call a double number line. Up top, I'm going to have quarts. Down below, I'm going to have gallons. So if this is 1 gallon, that's 4 quarts. If this is, it's just like a ratio table. If it's 2 gallons, that's 8 quarts. If it is 4 gallons, right? Because 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16 quarts. We are looking at 15 quarts, which would be right about here, 15 quarts. And so what would that be on this side, right? What would that be on this side? It's not halfway, right? Halfway would be right about here. That would be 3. So 15 is a little bit more than 3, but a little bit less than 4. So our problem that we had 3 3/4, our solution earlier, 3 3/4 of a gallon, that was more accurate. And that is, now we've just proven that our answer could be approximately 3 3/4 gallons. Okay. I'm going to stop here because this is a long video so far. So if we need to continue to go over these, we can go over these in class. Ciao for now.